Reality Transurfing, Book 3, Forward to the Past, by Vadim Zeland. Chapter 5, Letters from the Past. Segment 4, Esoteric Knowledge. Esoteric Knowledge. I am already familiar with various literature of this kind, and the strangest thing is that basically everyone wants to say the same thing, only they still disagree on many points. I, for example, am already starting to get confused because of the sheer volume of this information. What way is the right way, and what way is the wrong way? Basically, everyone says that you shouldn't take any information too seriously. But what should impressionable people do? And people who, let's say, give alms every day? After all, by not accepting and not understanding someone else's misfortune, the world will become hard-hearted and vicious. In the future, I want to become a journalist, and I am already working at one of the publishing houses, where I mostly encounter problems of women, and I write articles based on their stories. It is impossible to work efficiently without empathizing with their problems. What should journalists do, who every day encounter different kinds of information? Does it really mean that I will have to swing pendulums the rest of my life or keep tormenting myself? Perhaps there is something I don't understand. Also, sometimes there is the thought that all these ideas, including transurfing, are utopian. After all, if you were to get to the bottom of this, even transurfing is a pendulum, which you created, and you are swinging it with the thoughts of other people. Then why not make its laws simpler? Transurfing is not made up, thus its laws cannot be altered, and to fabricate these things is completely impossible. You cannot learn it from other people either. Esoteric knowledge is not fabricated, and it is not learned. It is simply there, in a place accessible to all. I call this place the space of variations. Others may call it differently, but its essence doesn't change because of that. In your letter, you say that you get confused about certain matters. How do you get your head around this myriad of teachings, which, according to you, are talking about one and the same thing, but still differ in their opinions? You won't believe how easy it is. Having read a heap of literature on psychology and the esoteric, you could stop at a certain point and forget everything that other people were writing about in their books. If you have accumulated a minimum necessary foundation in some area, you could get further information directly from the space of variations. To do that, you need to have the audacity to stop looking for answers to your questions in books by other people and turn to yourself. As long as your mind is turned to the whys of this world, you will keep getting confused and you will always be the eternal student. Change your orientation, turn your mind to your soul, and get the answers to all your questions. Let me repeat that. Change your orientation, turn your mind to your soul, and get the answers to all your questions. You know what differentiates those who make discoveries, create masterpieces of culture, art, and write books from people who get amazed before these discoveries, get enraptured with these masterpieces, and are reading these books. What differentiates creators from connoisseurs and teachers from students? The first had the audacity to tear their mind off others' creations and turn it to their soul. Connoisseurs and students are not in any way deprived of talent. It is just that their intention is aimed in another direction, at evaluating other people's work and to learn from others. It may seem to you that I am trying to play to the empty gallery, or repeating over and over again some well-known truths. To turn your mind to your soul, there is something nonspecific, unclear about this, and it smells of some kind of sugary spirituality. But I am actually talking about entirely specific things. To say that your soul already knows everything would not be entirely correct. The soul does not know, but she has, unlike your mind, access to the field of information, where the data about the past and the future is kept. All masterpieces and discoveries are stored there as well. The mind perceives the feelings of the soul as intuitive knowledge and inspiration, and then interprets these into the shape of commonly accepted ideas and labels. The mind cannot come up with anything new. He is only able to assemble a new version of a house out of old bricks. Everything that is principally new is made in the unity of the soul and mind. But to achieve this unity, you need to make simple and concrete steps. Accept the fact that any knowledge is accessible to you. Let me repeat that. Accept the fact that any knowledge is accessible to you. Turn to yourself with a question. Go your own way. Take advantage of your right to be unique. Make use of your access to the knowledge. This knowledge will be accessible once you'll manage to redirect your intention from others to yourself. Just tell yourself that you are unique, original, and know everything. Ask yourself a question and wait for an answer. It will come on its own, perhaps at once, perhaps in several days or even months, depending on the complexity of the question. But it will definitely come to you. In each person, the communication between the soul and the mind happens in its own way. The important thing is to direct the intention of your mind to your soul. The whole secret is that it seldom occurs to people to try to do that. But those who've tried start discovering new things and creating masterpieces. Let me repeat that. The whole secret is that it seldom occurs to people to try to do that. To direct your intention of your mind to your soul, that is. But those who've tried start discovering new things and creating masterpieces. The only thing that is in the way of the soul and mind's coming together is internal and external importance. Importance locks creative initiative into the box of commonly accepted stereotypes. This is what you write about the problems of your readers. It is impossible to work efficiently without empathizing with their problems. It is a correctively hackneyed phrase, isn't it? One could also add that not having empathized with someone's problems, it becomes completely impossible to help that person in any way. And that too sounds right, but in reality, it is a false stereotype that has been shaped by pendulums. You are solving people's problems, not because you are empathizing with their problems, but in spite of that. What's more, by burying yourself in other people's problems, you are no longer capable of solving them objectively. People get problems as a result of being completely immersed in the game of theirs. Life happens to them, and they are, as in an unconscious dream, at the mercy of circumstances. But should you only go down to the auditorium and look at the game from the outside, as a lot of things will become clear to you. While you are completely immersed in the problems of other people, you are at the same situation as they are. Let me repeat that. While you are completely immersed in the problems of other people, you are in the same situation as they are. To understand and solve their problems, you need to act in a detached way. Not heartlessly, not indifferently, but in a detached way. That is the difference between the absence of importance and callousness. Problems Yours, as well as those of others, can only be solved if you take on the role of a playing viewer. But while you are still living yours and other people's problems, you are helpless. Many readers just cannot catch the difference between detachment and callousness. I repeat once again, absence of importance, it is detachment and not indifference. Play your roles as if pretending, like children. Then you'll become the puppeteer, the master of the situation. But when you are absorbed by the game, you are a string puppet. It is true, you shouldn't take anything too seriously. If one were to examine it closer, everything is not as important as it seems. You need to help those who need your help, but you need to do it in a detached way, without empathizing and tormenting yourself with worries. Your feelings can only harm, and then again, you should provide aid only to those who are asking for it. To your question, what should impressionable people do and people who, let's say, give alms every day, there is an entirely specific, but what may seem to you a surprising answer. Reject the feelings of guilt. If you systematically give alms, then you feel obligated to do so. An obligation stems from guilty feelings. You do not as much feel compassion for the needy as you feel obligated to help them. This is not compassion, but a manifestation of importance. If you suddenly feel sympathy for a specific poor, sick old lady, that is compassion. But if you cannot calmly pass by any beggar without experiencing inner torments, then it is not compassion at all, but a call of duty. What to do? Just realize your freedom. You do not owe anyone anything. Take your right to knowledge. You are capable of creating and providing answers yourself. Let me repeat that. You are capable of creating and providing answers yourself. If you are not free from importance, you are a prey to doubts. Let me repeat that. If you are not free from importance, you are a prey to doubts. If, however, you are free, then you are right. And when you are free, you can allow yourself to feel sorry for people and feel with them. End segment.